Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level language arts lesson, and today we're going to be talking about neutral tone. So how do you prepare for tests? What kind of tests do you have? When do you usually start preparing for a test? And what advice do your teachers give you about tests? So just think about those questions, and we'll perhaps provide some of the answers as we go along. So you're going to read a text about preparing for tests, but before reading, we're going to match the words to the definitions. So you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, to study a lot in a short period of time, that is to cram. A piece of advice is a tip. Possible to control without any problems is manageable. To recommend or suggest something to other people is to promote. And feeling worried or anxious about something is to be nervous. Okay, so we're going to read the start of an article about taking tests and then answer the question. You can pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. It is normal to feel nervous about taking a test. However, with the right preparation and some hard work, it can be a manageable and even enjoyable task. This article will explain some common tips for getting ready for tests and look at evidence supporting them. One of the most common pieces of advice that students hear is to make a study schedule. A study schedule is a timetable of what needs to be done and when. The advantage of doing this is that time can be used more efficiently. This means that students do not need to cram right before their test. It appears to be good advice as teachers have been promoting study schedules for years. So what do you think is the best title for this article and why? Nick and the Bad Test, How to Prepare for Tests, and Why I Love Tests. Well, probably choice B would be the best title because everything in this is talking about how you prepare for tests. So the text on the previous slide was an example of expository writing, and if you can remember a few videos ago, we talked about expository writing and how it's used to explain a process. It's different from other types of writing, descriptive when you're describing something, narrative in which you're telling a story, and persuasive in which you're trying to convince someone of a particular point of view. Okay, so now look at the examples of expository writing and persuasive writing and discuss the questions. Again, you can pause the video, read on your own, or follow along as I read. We have one vocabulary word before we start. Tone, which is a noun, is the feeling or character of writing or speech. So expository text. One of the most common pieces of advice that students hear is to make a study schedule. A study schedule is a timetable of what needs to be done and when. The advantage of doing this is that time can be used more efficiently. This means that students do not need to cram right before their test. It appears to be good advice if teachers have been promoting study schedules for years. Now, persuasive text. Have you ever been stressed about an exam or a test? Of course you have. We all have. But a study schedule will stop you from ever feeling stressed again. You can save time, you can get better grades, you can feel more relaxed. Follow my simple study schedule advice, and together we will make sure you never need to worry about a test again. Do you really want to spend another evening cramming? So do the two writers have the same purpose for their writing? Well, yes, they're both saying that having a study schedule is a good thing that will help. But what are the differences in tone between the two texts? Well, in the persuasive text, the writer uses very personal language. He tries to use emotive words to get the reader to uh, feel a certain way about remembering the stress of taking an exam. And the expository text is a lot more neutral. It doesn't create those strong emotions, even though it's promoting the same purpose. So expository writing usually has a neutral tone. This means that it uses facts and information and doesn't use the author's opinion. So you can pause the video, read this again on your own. I'm not going to read it aloud again. Um, and then you can restart the video when you're ready to look at the answers to the questions. All right, so where in the text does the writer state facts or information? Well, when he says it's normal to feel nervous about taking a test, I would say that's a fact. Um, and then he says that one of the most common pieces of advice that students hear is to make a study schedule. And then he gives a fact about what a study schedule is. It's a timetable of what needs to be done and when. Um, and then he talks about teachers have been promoting the study schedules for years. And where in the text does the writer give their opinion? Well, when he says that with the right preparation and some hard work, taking a test can be manageable, even enjoyable. Um, and then that one of the advantages of a study schedule is that you can use time more efficiently, and where he says it appears to be good advice. Okay, a writer can create a neutral tone by using general nouns instead of specific examples. So compare some specific sentences with general examples from the text, and then try to create your own sentences with general nouns. So the first one, this means that I do not need to cram right before the test. This means that students do not need to cram right before the test. So I is very personal, very specific, and students is more general, creating a more neutral tone. Mr. Luis from our school has been promoting, or teachers have been promoting study schedules for years. So here, a specific teacher from a specific school, and then in here, teachers in general. My classmate, Alexa, is often tired in class because she studies late. So how could we make this more neutral? Maybe something like some students are often tired because of studying late. My mom and dad worry when I go to bed too late. So a more neutral way to say that is parents worry because children go to bed too late. All right, so two ways to say the same thing. So look at the two sentences below. It is good advice as teachers have been promoting study schedules for years, or it appears to be good advice as teachers have been promoting study schedules for years. Does the sentence have the same meaning? Well, the meanings are very close, but in this one it's being stated as a fact. It's almost being worded as a fact, even though this is really just a person's opinion. Here, it appears to be, it kind of stresses that it is the person's opinion, and, so it is kind of the difference in the expressions. it's being stated as if, there's no uh, dispute or disagreement, and here it appears to be, gives a little bit more room for interpretation. So cautious language avoids making strong statements. We can use it in expository writing to keep a neutral tone. So which sentences use cautious language? And so underline the cautious language. So it appears to be good advice as teachers have been promoting study schedules for years. Well, it appears to be. That is the cautious language. Students who make study schedules do better than those who do not. Well, that's not really cautious language. Students who make study schedules might do better than students who do not. So the might do better is cautious language. Time management is the most important factor. That really isn't cautious language or a neutral tone. It could be the case that time management is the most important factor. So it could be the case is more cautious. And it is good advice as teachers have been promoting study schedules for years. Again, that's not cautious language, and so it doesn't have as neutral of a tone. So creating a more neutral tone. So here you want to rewrite the sentences in a more neutral tone, use general nouns and cautious language. So the first one is done for you. Makosi from my math class takes notes and she gets good grades. Students who take notes may get good grades. So try numbers 2 and 3 and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so Mr. Bain never gives us any help, so we don't do well. So you could say, students may not do well when teachers don't give them any help. And I believe that if you work hard at school, you will succeed. So you could say, it may be true that students who work hard at school will succeed. Or even more cautious, might succeed. Okay, so how can students get better grades? So what are some of the things that students can do to get better grades? Think of a student who often gets good grades, and think about what is it that they do. And think of a student who doesn't usually get good grades, and what do they do? So you're going to write your own expository text about how students can get better grades on tests. So make some notes in the table and think of examples of neutral language that you can use in your writing. So this is going to be a 3-paragraph essay. You want to come up with 3 ideas on how to get better grades on tests, and then express that idea using neutral language. Now you want to write your text using neutral language and make sure your writing meets this criteria. Does your writing make 3 points? Use general nouns and use cautious statements. And once again, if you would like some feedback on your writing, you can send me a copy at my email address. And I'll be glad to take a look at it and give you some feedback. Alright, so just to review what we've covered in the lesson. Why is a neutral tone important in expository writing? Well, expository writing is really to give facts and information, and it shouldn't be using emotion to persuade a person to accept a particular point of view. And what are some of the ways that a writer can create a neutral tone? Well, as we said, to use general nouns and cautious language. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, and if you have any questions, please leave those for me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.